One. Hi, I'm Josh,
And I'm Adrian.
and today we have more Big Brother tea to spill.
Yep. Today we are spilling on the next episode, which I think is episode 20.
Ding, ding, ding. Yep, 20. So today we're going to do a little bit different because Adrian was a little busy, so he wasn't able to actually write down notes. He still watched the episode, but usually he's a note taker, and today he was not able to do that. So I had to step in, which is fine. Um, this was an interesting episode, I feel like. So it starts off with Sarah Beth pretty much just being so happy that she won the HOH. You know, she's just like Sarah Beth is just iconic. I feel like she really is iconic, like in every sense of the word. Like she plays like this sweet girl that's like just like so innocent and like so like just clueless, but she's like also like very like strategic. You know what I mean? Because she's like, oh my god, I won my first HOH, and like she doesn't even sound threatening when she says that, and it's like, girl, I feel like almost everybody knows what you're up to. You know what I mean? But like I love that. Like I've never even seen that in any like player before. And I'm just I live, like she's an all-star, she's everything. So I love her. And I'm not gonna say anything, but there might be slight changes on my ranking list today. So we'll just leave it at that.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. And then after that, so we go into Derek F. So Derek F, of course, talks about his little kiss with Kyland and how happy he is, and he's like so like over the moon, all that shit, you know. And I'm just like, whatever, who cares, anyways.
It
But
really
he
bothers you
also,
because I think this is the first time that you cuss on our little Big Brother spill, and it has to do with revolving around a kiss that involves Kyland. So I think it really bothers you.
it's just a topic I do not want to address, but I have to a little bit. So we just have to move on to the next segment.
Agreed. We can.
But he also talks about how he's not happy about Sarah Beth winning. Like, it's funny because like literally like at the beginning of the episode, everybody's talking about like how threatened they are by Sarah Beth. And I'm like, oh my god, I live for this moment. Like, it's the best. Like Sarah Beth is like super happy about her winning HOH. I'm there with her. You're there with her. Like all of the Sarah Beth fans are there with her because everybody literally is threatened by her. Like Hannah talks about like she's, you know, of course Hannah's doing whatever she does best, and she's just like congratulating her. But of course, on the DR, she's just like, I did not want Sarah Beth to win and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, of course you don't, because you know that, you know, you're a potential target. Of course you're not happy. And then, who else talks about her? Okay, so this is the part where I was kind of disappointed. So Kyland, of course, is happy that Sarah Beth won. And, you know, he feels safe and all that stuff, but he does mention how he still has to cook out as his like main priority, which kind of threw me off a little bit because I've been saying that like Kylan is like very strategic and like how he still holds Sarah Beth like as more of a priority than the cookout. But then like today he confirmed it, and I'm just like, what's your obsession with the cookout though? Like the cookout's not going to give you the win. Like if anything,
Right.
you
And I
this is like the one HOH that you should be looking at Sarah Beth to kind of do your dirty work and get rid of someone from the cookout. Why aren't you taking that chance? You know what I
right.
mean?
And I've been noticing this. I've told you many times, Kylan is thinking more of the club than he is with Sarah Beth.
Right.
And unfortunately, we're seeing that a lot more this episode.
Yeah, it was just it honestly, but that was like one of the most disappointing things. I really thought that Kylan was gonna be like over the moon, like really happy that Sarah Beth won, and then like have her just kind of take charge of who she wants. And then I assumed that Sarah Beth was gonna take the lead in getting someone from the cookout. But even that, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on with this? Like, I just don't understand it. It's so confusing. Um, which kind of goes into the next thing. So Kylan starts, you know, he's talking to Sarah Beth, and he pitches that Derek X and Claire should be the nominee.
Because this whole what's really more disappointing with Kylan right now is that he's trying to make the HOH his. Because every time that Sarah Beth kind of voices her opinion, it's just like, that doesn't work for me. But let me just try to do this for you. And she didn't do
And
that with him.
it sucks because it kind of does seem like it's working a little bit because like whatever Kylan is saying, Sarah Beth is kind of like going along with it.
Right.
And I'm like, no, like the reason why I love Sarah Beth and Kylan is because I felt like they were their own people and they were playing the game. But seeing them together in this one HOH, I'm just like, why is Sarah Beth so easy to manipulate, and why is Kylan pushing so hard for something that I thought that he was even about? Like I really thought that he was just gonna be like super excited that she won, and then that she was gonna have free reign to target anybody, and he would just follow through with it as a true ally. But he's still pushing for the cookout, and I'm just like, what? That
Right.
was
It's very
that was not
disappointing.
strategic.
It's very, very disappointing. And
Very much.
it's more disappointing because if it was another alliance, I have a strong opinions about this alliance. And if it was another alliance that totally makes sense and was fair, I would be for it. I would be for it.
Right.
But it's just the way
Right.
that this alliance is.
Right. Yeah. Yep. One. So yeah. So the cookout, I feel like, I mean, I'm just gonna say it out there. Like these people don't even get along with each other. So how are they an alliance? Like some of them haven't even really talked to each other. And like we'll talk about it pretty soon here because there was some very uncomfortable situation that happened between Derek F and Tiffany, and it was like just so uncomfortable. And it was like, you guys have been like in the same alliance this whole time, but yet you guys don't even like agree on anything. It's just so toxic. I've never seen an
Right. And
alliance
this is
like.
why I don't like
Go ahead.
this is why I don't like the alliance, because it's clear that they have other intentions with the alliance. Like if there was a genuine alliance, they would all get along, which they really do not. So the intention
Right.
for this alliance is something completely different that goes beyond the game, and that's
Right.
annoying to me.
Right. So so we can kind of move it forward, and then we'll kind of go about that because that was a pretty big moment of the episode. So after Colin pitches Derek X and Claire, then there's another segment where you just see us all crying because she said that Brittany has left and all that stuff. And all I was thinking was like, Brittany 2.0. I understand where she's coming from. I know that she's sad because Brittany left, and I get it. But at the same time, it's like, girl, just, can we do something else? Like, can we not cry and actually go win comp? Like, we've seen so many
I like how
people
she
that
talks
cry.
about
Mm-hmm.
she talks about taking Brittany to final two, but like I'm like, you were never gonna get there in the first place. Brittany
Right.
didn't win HOHs. She won one comp in the whole time that she's been in the house, and you haven't won a single thing.
Yeah,
There was
it's like at
no
this
way
point,
y'all were getting to final two.
right? There's literally no way that neither of them was going to get to final. So like, I feel like this season isn't about floaters or coasters or whatever to get to finals, and like they definitely both were. And like it would be kind of expensive for the viewers and for the players for them both to get to the final because neither of them didn't do anything. So it's like there's no way at all that you were going to be in the finals with Brittany. That's just not going to happen. Like we're like halfway through the game, probably even more than halfway through the game, and neither of y'all have anything to stand up on. So no, stop crying. If you feel like you might have a shot at the game, start playing the game and not cry
I
anymore.
agree.
Sorry. Anyways, I got a little heated there.
I mean, it's very infuriating that this is happening and that we're
right.
seeing this and that she's crying. Like, do not even cry. Like I don't even think like I can respect her tears right now because there's nothing much that I would have understood if they were like beasting in the game and then just a sudden turn of events got Brittany evicted.
Exactly.
But you were at the bottom, and then now it's just
Right.
annoying.
Right. Exactly. Like you know, had Brittany been like a comp beast or something that was like a power player that just got blindsided, then I'd be like, oh, you know what? I can see that. Like that was bullshit. That was a pretty fucking crazy move to make. But Brittany had it coming. There's literally no shocker, and there's literally really no reason to cry. I'm sure Brittany will be fine. I'm sure she'll watch the episode. She'll see what she did wrong, and just get over it.
Right.
Oh well.
And now, unfortunately, as I say this, now the one that's going to be targeted is her and Derek F. Like,
right.
Even though you're in this cookout alliance that you're so wasting all your energy in this house to protect, you are at the bottom of that alliance because there's stronger people, and you are going to get voted out the first chance that they get.
Right. So, yeah. So the next kind of segment that we see after that was Tiffany. I want to say she's talking to Hannah, and she's talking about how she's been wanting to get rid of Sarah Beth for like the last 4 weeks. And that kind of just picks it up because like she starts talking about how like she's like, oh my god, I did not want Hannah to win. Like she was the last. Like she literally gives so much power to Sarah Beth. Like she's like out of everybody in this house, out of everybody in this world, she was the last person I wanted to win. And I'm like, oh wow, you really are threatened by Sarah Beth and for her to win HOH like that. But hey, if I was Sarah Beth and Tiffany was that threatened about me, I'd be like, I have the HOH and you don't. Who cares? So I just thought it was interesting that Tiffany was very like upset about that. And I'm just like, because we had talked about this, like Tiffany has been going for Sarah Beth for such a long time already. And like now that Sarah Beth is in power, Tiffany is shaking. But things are not turning out how he wants, as we know. And then after that, Xavier and Derek are talking about Derek X being the target. I mean, I guess that makes sense. I think that's kind of what starts it.
I see why they're targeting Derek X because he is smart. There is a very smart point in this episode that I'm sure we'll talk about.
Right.
He is strong in competitions, so I see why they want to target him.
Right.
But if you really opened up your eyes outside of this Cookout Alliance, there's a bigger threat in the house over Derek X. And that's frustrating.
Yep. That's how I feel too. Like I feel like, I mean, I don't know. Like we're not there. They're there. We get to see stuff. But even if I was in there, like I'd be able to be like, okay, you know what? Like this alliance is good. Don't get me wrong. Like they've been able to kind of go through however they have been able to, but they're losing track of the fact that this alliance has to break up eventually. Why not do it now? Like, what are you waiting for? There's literally no way that you can get to final 5 and expect to win like that, because then it's just going to create like chaos. It's really going to be chaos. If for some reason the Cookout makes it to like the final 5 or final 6, like it's going to be a chaos that's going to be so messy that we're just going to be like, what the fuck is going on? Like who's going for who? Like there's no strategy anymore. It's going to get really messy. And if I was one of the members from this alliance, and if I was a member of this alliance, it'd be like, we're down to what, final 8? It's time. I think it's time for us to make a move and get rid of someone. Like it's what are we waiting for? And they're not seeing that. I don't understand it. Whatever. So then after that we go to, so Derek X also talked about feeling threatened by Sarah Beth because he put her up when he was HOH.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So then like it just kind of solidifies that
reason.
Yeah. I feel like everybody in this house right now is at least at the beginning when Sarah Beth won, like literally everybody in that house was like so scared that Sarah Beth won. They were like, we did not want her to win. She was the last person that we wanted to win. And I'm like, yes, that's perfect. That's exactly what we needed. We need like a shift of power. And who else is better to do it than Sarah Beth? I just wish that Sarah Beth would have a better handle on what's going on and she would make smarter decisions in terms of her nominations.
What's hurting her is that she's running everything by Kyland because she thinks that they really do have a final 2. And that's going to be very disappointing whenever she realizes that her final 2 with Kyland was like not even a real thing to Kyland. Like, I think that's going to hurt her feelings more. And she's going to understand everything clearly because let's face it, the way it's looking, and I hate to say this, the way it's looking is Sarah Beth can't play next week. So I really do think Sarah Beth is going to be one of the biggest targets next week. And I feel like whenever Kyland doesn't do much to save her, she's going to realize I messed up in confining with him with my HOH.
Right, exactly. And she's been a target. Like literally this was the week that people were going to target Sarah Beth. Because like Tiffany said it, I want to say Hannah said it. Derek F, I think, kind of hinted at it that he didn't want Sarah Beth to win because she was probably the target. So like the Cookout was definitely going to come for Sarah Beth this round. Had one of them won, she would have been the one that was the target. So her winning was kind of like a flip on things. But it's like, girl, if you only you knew what they're trying to do for you, like trying to do to you, you'd probably change your nominees and go for someone else, because I don't think Derek X really has, I don't know. I don't think Derek X literally thinks that Sarah Beth is like the one that he would go for. Like, I think he would go for someone else. Like, he just saw Kyland and Xavier trying to plot against him or trying to control him or whatever,
Right.
like last episode. Like, I don't think Derek X would go for Sarah Beth. So
No,
why is Sarah Beth going
definitely
for
not.
him? She's
Because of
flipping.
Kyland.
I mean, kudos to him because I've been saying that he's good at manipulation and he's proving that. But at the same time, it's also like you're manipulating the one player that had back. So how smart are you?
Right.
You know what I mean? So
I mean,
okay, so then let's
everything is just hitting a wall.
Yeah. So I guess we can go over I guess the most important part of this episode where Derek F and Tiffany have a little discussion. So it kind of starts with Derek, right? So Tiffany's in the bathroom, and then Derek F happens to be there too, and they kind of like are like having like little chat first, and then like Tiffany from the get go is like just being so aggressive. Like she's like, yeah, you and I don't have anything to talk, and blah 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 blah. And like just from the get go, she's already kind of like very defensive. And I can tell that Derek F is really just trying to talk to her, like, hey, like let's try to work something out this week because we can just stick together. And Tiffany is just for some reason not having it, and I'm just like so confused. I'm like, what is your animosity coming from? I mean, Derek F isn't
She's
like
mad over the
strong
fact that Derek X funded her last week whenever she was trying to talk to Brittany in the HOH room, and Derek went in there, which he has a point. If you're all in the same alliance, which
right.
technically you're supposed to be, what does it matter if you hear her plans? Like, why are you trying to hide it? I would be mad too. Like, okay,
Right.
we are in the same alliance, but you're keeping things from me. So am I really in the alliance or am I not?
Right. And then what? So I kind of see both sides of it because I do see where Derek F is upset, but I also do see a little part of it where he's kind of like following Tiffany's footsteps a little bit because so they're both in the bathroom and they're talking, and then Alyssa shows up, and then I think Claire was in there at first. I think Claire was in there first, and then like somehow Derek like kind of like pushes her out of the room. He's like, "Oh, I just want to talk to Tiffany," blah blah. And then of course Claire's like, "Whatever." So she goes away, and then Alyssa passes by, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna use the bathroom, whatever." And then Derek F is like, "Oh, well, like we were talking," and then like it's just like a little bit awkward, and then Derek F is like, "Oh, no worries, we'll just go somewhere else." And then they go to the supply room, him and Tiffany. And I was like, dude, literally what you're doing right now is the exact same thing that Tiffany did to you. Why are you doing the same thing? Why are you following her footsteps? Why are you acting like her? Like, are you secretly obsessed with her? Like, I don't get it. Like, you're literally following the same actions that she just did to you last week.
Right, and I didn't even notice that. That was part of this episode where I was kind of busy, so I only saw the aftermath of what happened after they went into the supply room. I didn't see what you just mentioned. But what happens in the supply room is just
terrible.
Beyond.
Yeah, so like they go in there, and again, so after that happens, I feel like so Derek F is kind of trying to have like a more adult moment and really just talk to Tiffany and kind of really see where she's at and what happened and all this stuff. And Tiffany just like goes crazy, just starts getting really defensive and like just I don't even remember what she says, but she just starts getting really aggressive. She's like, I can't believe that you would do that. And like I'm still surprised that you haven't apologized to me. Like, apologize for what?
Like she was trying to force him to apologize for going in for like checking her. She calls it as a you checked me, which I don't really consider it as a he checked her. He just wanted to be included because he felt like she was trying to run the shots.
Right.
And she's mad over the fact that he checked her and that he wasn't apologizing for it, but he had no reason to apologize. He did nothing wrong.
Right. And he's trying to explain that to her. She's like she's kind of like that one toxic person like in a relationship that, you know, I'm sure you've had and I've had, like where this person knows that they're wrong, but they're not going to give up on that. But they're just going to continue to argue about it, and they're going to like get defensive about it because they know that they're wrong, but they will not admit that they're wrong. And that's what Tiffany was doing. Tiffany knows that she's in the wrong, but she's not going to give up to that.
Right. And what I don't like, and I'm crazy enough to say this, that I say I don't like it because I do it in my arguments. But she's dismissing everything. Like she asks a
Mhm.
question and he would try to answer it. She's like, oh, okay, whatever. Okay. Right.
That was the
Like
worst. That's when I was like, you know what, this girl is something else. She is very frustrating. If I was Derek F, but it was my personality, I would have probably gone off on her at that point. I would have been like, you know what, you
he
keep on interrupting me, and I don't appreciate that. You only see your point of view. I'm trying to explain myself, but you're not even listening to it. So if that's how you want to play it, then maybe we shouldn't play together. You go your own way, I'll go my own way. If I have to get eliminated, I don't give a fuck at this point. You're fucking pissing me off. And then I would have told her off because she was
right. And
really,
then
really aggravating.
she was on other levels. And what I really don't understand, he kind of tries to give her what she wants in order to try to work something out. And
Right.
even then she was like, oh, I don't want to hear it now. Like it's not even worth it at this point. Like, then why the fuck are you arguing? What is the issue?
At that point, I
You're
really just want.
arguing because you didn't get what you want, and then when you're getting what you want, you're mad about it. So why are we mad?
I really just think that she's mad at Derek F because Derek F is like probably the only person within the alliance that's not following her footsteps, and she doesn't like that, and that's very
She
frustrating
sees that
because
he
like
doesn't tolerate her.
right, and it's like, girl, I'm sorry, like people are not supposed to just do whatever you say. Sorry about that.
This
Like
isn't
Derek F,
your
I mean,
show.
it's not. It's definitely not your show. If anything, it's the Sarah Beth show. So if anything, you should be mad at Sarah Beth, not Derek
Right.
F. So yeah, she's just very. It was very aggressive and it was very disappointing. And I was just like, she's losing it. I think like the game is getting to the best of her, and she's just very. I don't know. I don't think she'll go this far.
I'm scared of Tiffany if she ever gets power. Like she
Mm-hmm.
feels like she has power now and she's going on these trips. Can you
Mm-hmm.
imagine what would happen if she wins power? Like that would be a
Honestly,
dramatic episode.
and I wouldn't even. I wouldn't even be surprised that she would probably have like a French moment, like kind of how French was acting when he was in HOH. Like I feel like Tiffany would be the same way, like
Oh yeah,
literally
or
the same way. And
worse.
like yeah, like she would try to. Yeah, it's just weird that she would be like that. I'm just like, why? How do you in any way think that that's cool? Like I get it, you want to call the shots and stuff and all that, but you're really just rubbing people the wrong way. Like I mean, you're definitely rubbing Derek F the wrong way. Like obviously Sarah Beth. Like those are two people. Like I'm sure people are gonna catch up on what you're doing. It's not cute.
Okay, you just said people are going to catch up onto what's going on. Let's move on to Derek X catching on to what's going on.
Mm-hmm. That was literally what. Okay, before we do that, let me just one more thing before we go on to that. I did like how Derek F, like when he was giving his confessional, he was like talking about Tiffany. He was like, "Act a fool, girl," and I love that because that was like from. I mean, I know you don't watch the show, but that was from RuPaul. There's a drag queen that says that. She's like, "Act a fool, girl," and then when he said that, I was like, "Oh, I love that. That is so fucking iconic. Like, I love it." So anyway, we'll move on to Derek X. Yeah. Do you want to mention that?
Yes, because I did pay attention to this. I stopped what I was doing because it was so mind blowing. So
Right.
Derek F is talking to Claire.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Is it Claire that he's talking to, or is he talking to Hannah? No, he's talking to Claire.
He's talking to Claire.
So he's talking to Claire, and they're having a little conversation while they're laying down. And he starts to notice he's like, I'm questioning who works with who. He's like, every week I start kicking, I step back and I look at everybody and I'm like, okay, these two are definitely working together. These two are working together. He's like, and then I noticed that every time I bring up Xavier's name to Tiffany, she diverts the conversation. And whenever I bring up Tiffany to Xavier, he takes the conversation somewhere else and he pins it on something else. He's like, so I think they're working together. He's like, and then I
Right.
think Kyland is working with them. And then I think Azza is working with them. And then I think Derek F is working with them. He's like, and then I
Mm-hmm.
think Hannah is working with them. He's like, so if these people are all working together, there's a different side of the house that I'm not aware of, and I need to get to the bottom of it. I'm just like, how did you just figure out and name literally every single person that's in the
In
Cookout
that alliance.
Alliance do something with this information, because I wanted to jump into the screen and be like, "You're right. Do something. Go talk to Sarah Beth and be like, this is what I know. Just notice it before you make your nominations. Make a move."
It just sucks though, because I don't think that he's gonna have enough time. Like, I just don't understand that. Like, it's so hard. It sucks for Derek X so much, because Derek X is an amazing player. Like, I feel like if there's ever like an All Stars, like hands down, he has to be on All Stars. Like, if he's not, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck? Like, he's like very strategic. Like, he's very smart. He's almost kind of psychic, and it's kind of scary. The only thing that fucks him up though is Hannah, because had Hannah not been like there with him or whatever, then she wouldn't be able to influence him with some stuff in regards to like the cookout, and then he would have been able to kind of work with other people such as Sarah Beth. I feel like Sarah Beth and Derek X could have been like a powerful, like a powerhouse of an alliance had they just stuck together.
If
And now the fact,
Alyssa, Sarah Beth, and Derek X all got together, they could make some big moves.
that would be iconic. That would be so
Big
iconic,
moves.
because it's like, yeah, like all of them are like, I mean, again, I'm gonna stick by Alyssa. I feel like Alyssa's a strong player, regardless of what people say. Sarah Beth obviously is a strong player, and Derek X is. Like, if they all three teamed up, they can get rid of a lot of these people, and it would just be so good. Like, it would just be so good. And like the fact that Sarah Beth is not seeing it is a little bit disappointing, because I really thought that she did have a strong read in the house, and she still does, but not in regards to Derek X. I like, for some reason she feels threatened by him. I don't know.
Right.
It sucks.
Like you said, I really do think that Derek X figured this out a little too late. And he's not going to have enough time to actually act on it.
Right.
Just because what we know later on the episode, we kind of figure out what's going on and why he doesn't have that much time left.
Right. So then, okay, so there's like, I guess there's like a little bit more, like one last portion of the episode that I took notes of, and then we'll kind of jump into yours. So pretty much Sarah Beth talks about her threats, and her threats were kind of confusing, because she mentioned Derek X, and then she mentioned Alyssa, right? And then I want to say she mentioned Claire when she was talking to Kyland. I could be wrong. I don't know if those were...
She mentioned, are you talking about X? Did you mention X? Because she mentioned X.
Oh, I thought she was talking about Derek X.
No, whenever she says X, it's Xavier.
Okay, so she mentioned Xavier, Alyssa, and Claire. She mentioned three people. Okay, so I was a little bit surprised when she mentioned Alyssa, because I could have seen that her and Alyssa were like this. And so when she said that she was like a possible, but that's so disappointing, because I'm like, Sarah, like, Alyssa is like on your side. Like, why are you going for her? Why is she even an option?
If
like,
she's not.
Who, Alyssa?
If you notice it, Alyssa is not on her side, because she's mentioned it before that she feels like the only person that's close to her is Xavier, which they call X.
But she said that today, though.
But whenever, no, she's been saying it. She said it in a few other episodes too.
No, but she said today that she felt like Sarah Beth was the only person that she could trust, though. Alyssa said that.
Alyssa? Well, Sarah Beth thinks that Alyssa is a target, because would be a competition for her, like a threat, is because Xavier really doesn't listen to her, and she knows that she's close to Xavier. So she feels like she's going to be a threat, because if she ever becomes power, Xavier is going to influence her to put me up.
Well, then why not get rid of Xavier? Like, if I was Sarah Beth and I saw that there was like a duo there, possibly get rid of Xavier and then just keep Alyssa for yourself. Alyssa still has, I feel like Alyssa still has Sarah Beth like back, but Sarah Beth,
she could. The problem with Sarah Beth's decisions is unfortunately Kyland, because anytime she mentions any name in the cookout, he has something to say to veer her or steer her the other way.
Well, then that disappoints me. That disappoints me from Sarah Beth, because I felt like Sarah Beth had a better read of the house, and like, I don't blame her, because Kyland is really
she does. So, like, if she does have a good healer. She
Well,
does have
a
a
little bit.
beautiful read on the house.
Not
However,
really.
she's just not acting on it because no, she sees things. She really does see things and she sees threats. The
But
threats
she
that
doesn't.
she sees are actually her threats.
Well, but she
She's
doesn't see
mentioned
Tiffany.
Xavier. She didn't mention Tiffany as a threat.
Tiffany is her biggest threat. Literally, Tiffany is like,
Correct.
and she hasn't mentioned her. And I'm kind of surprised that she hasn't mentioned Tiffany at all because, like, if she did
She
have like a
did mention
really good
Tiffany.
read,
She said she was feeling good with her.
which again, that's a bad read in the house.
Right.
Tiffany is literally, Tiffany should be target number one for Sarah Beth. I don't know why in any type of dimension that Sarah Beth thinks that she's okay with Tiffany. I don't understand it. And that's kind of where I'm confused because I thought that Sarah Beth had a better read in the house. She has a somewhat okay read in the house, but it's not the best. The fact that she's not even like thinking,
I don't
like
think
the fact that
anybody
she's,
has a good read on the house other
I
than
think
Derek
Kyland does.
X.
Other than the Kyland, I think Kyland has a perfect read in the house. Literally everybody that wins HOH, he's always like somehow influenced, like he's somehow in the ends of what's gonna happen. Literally. No one ever talks about Kyland. Derek X has a good read in the house too, but he unfortunately is a little bit too easy to read in some aspects. I mean, you can hit on it as much as you want, but Kylan definitely has like one of the best reads in the house, if not the best,
I'm
because
not hating on it. I do think
but
that. I just
he kind of is walking on villain territory at this point because he is influencing Sarah Beth and Sarah Beth is falling through it. The Crooked Alliance thinks that he is solid with them, which he is, but I don't know. I feel like
well,
even within
I'll give my
even within the
opinions on
alliance.
Kyland
Okay.
whenever we go to the lists because I do
So
have
okay,
opinions.
okay, and one more thing, I must say it. The fact that he kissed Derek F is kind of a way for him to solidify a vote on his end. I feel like because he knows that Derek F is like all like ooh like hard eyes on Kylan. Kylan is probably like, why not give him a kiss and then just like solidify that vote?
No,
Yes,
I don't think that's what he's thinking at all. I
I
think
think
you're
that's
trying to
exactly.
find a reasoning for that kiss, and I think that
No,
you're making yourself believe that.
no, I think that's what it is because I don't think Derek
I
F is ever
don't.
going to go against Kylan.
That
Kylan
might
is,
be, they might not go against each other, but I don't think that kiss was the reason for it.
I think that's what it was.
I really don't think that.
I
Moving
think
on,
so.
because we
Yeah.
obviously have different opinions on that part.
Okay, we'll move on. So then, okay, so now we go on to the nominations, right?
Yes,
Okay, so then Sarah Beth makes her nominations and she nominates Derek F and Claire.
Claire.
So
Which these are just pawns.
right.
Apparently.
Did you
So
hear like her
I
reasonings behind it or not really?
yes, this is when I actually started paying attention to the episode. I started taking mental notes. I actually didn't take notes, but I remember
Mm-hmm.
this. So she made her nominations this way because she can't target her target, which at this point we kind of have a hint that it's going to be Derek X. That's who she's wanting to target, but she can't make 4 nominations because she knows the High Rollers comp is still to be played. That has a
Right.
lot of things to do with the nominations. So she puts up 2 random pawns, 2 random names on the block, and then whenever the High Rollers room comp gets played, then that's when she will decide what she needs to do. Unfortunately, I don't like her nomination of Derek F because Derek F was already feeling some type of way, and now this just adds fuel to that fire that he's going to have against her. So she's making enemies with Derek F. But that was her reasoning for
That was
putting them
already
up.
there. That was already there though. It's so weird to me because like I mean again we're not there, but Sarah Beth, people are threatened by people that catch on to things, I guess, and that's what makes them like a villain or that's what makes them a bad person. Sarah Beth like literally hasn't done anything bad on this game besides just kind of knowing what things are going on, kind of thing. And Derek F for some reason is threatened by that. Derek F is literally threatened by Sarah Beth being smart. Like I'm like,
He's only he only doesn't like Sarah Beth because Sarah Beth is a problem for the Cookout Alliance. That's why Derek has a problem with her.
That I don't understand that. I really don't like. This is where this alliance is faulty because anybody can talk about this, but the fact that they're just like targeting people that like are not part of the group is kind of like that's literally what other alliances do that are not good because they're not being strategic. Like you're being like way too much about it, and it just doesn't make sense. Like Sarah Beth is literally just your target because she is not part of the group. Don't you think that maybe aligning with her would kind of help in the end when the group has to break up? You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be thinking like, hey, let's get to final five and then whoever deserves to win wins. Derek, if you were smarter than that, you would know that you're at the bottom of that alliance. Why not get someone else to get rid of the stronger players for you, and then you can go into the final? He's not even thinking about that. It's so like it's so disappointing.
It is. I mean, unfortunately, this is the cards that we were dealt with this season, and it's just that's how it's going to go. Like,
right.
So after nominations, we come back into another segment, which is the High Rollers comp.
Yep.
I don't really remember who gets the top prizes. However, most people, which was almost everybody, decides not to play because the power that the game you receive next week is stronger than this week. The only person who ended up playing the competition was Alyssa. She plays it and she gives up her chances to play next week. Derek X wanted to play, however, he decided to go for the power next week because it's much stronger, which I think it's already known. They're going to replace the HOH. Whoever wins the power next week replaces the HOH.
What is
which I think is I don't remember what it's called. Okay. It's like double up or something like that. Huh?
So no, I was just gonna say, okay, I don't know either, but the fact that Alyssa wanted to play that game and win it is kind of smart for her because at the beginning of the episode, I didn't think that she was a threat. I didn't think that she was even like an option for the block. But somehow along the line, she maybe got a vibe, or maybe she heard it from someone that she might be, or maybe it's just because she's paranoid and she just wants to be safe that she's like, you know what? I don't feel safe. I'm just gonna play this game and make sure that I'm safe for this week. And that was a smart move on her end because, you know, at the beginning of the episode, Sarah Beth does mention that Alyssa is a potential target. And it's like, what? I didn't think that. But now that Alyssa has won this, she's not a target anymore. So I'm like, you know, kudos to you. People hate on you and stuff. But to me, she's playing a good game. She's laying under the radar.
What happens after the comp? Okay, so she's the only person that plays. The power this week is to take somebody off the block. She went, and whoever won got to take somebody off the block. Then they were going to spin the roulette wheel. Whoever got landed on the roulette wheel was going to be the replacement nominee for whoever she took off. So the whole time that she's playing, she's like, I want to play so I can be safe. And then I just hope that it doesn't land on Xavier because Xavier is the only person that's like on my side. So only thing she talked about the whole time. So she ends up winning the comp, which throws people off because like, unlike last week that there was a list of people who played, this time it only revealed who won. So a lot of people are like, some people could have used their money, but we just don't know. Unfortunately, it's not going to go big because Alyssa was the only person that played, but she does win. She brings out the wheel, she spins it, and lo and behold, it's what she didn't want it. She put her only person that she wanted safe on the block, which is Xavier. Little ball lands on Xavier's face. She puts him on the block, which is exactly what she didn't want. So our final nominees for the night after the comp is Xavier and Claire on the block, with target being Derek X.
Right. What a mess.
It is.
What a mess.
Right. So until now, that's our set stone nominees to Xavier, Claire. We still have veto to play, so we'll see what happens with the veto,
Right.
which that won't be till Wednesday. So now we could just jump straight into our lists.
Yep.
Um, we both have shocking lists, so I don't know if you want to go first or if I go first. It's up to you.
It's up to you. I mean, if you want to go first, I guess.
Okay, so at the bottom of my list, we only have 10 people, and I like to go through my list kind of fast. We only have 10 people at the bottom of my list. Should be no surprise. It is Tiffany for the way she acted today. I feel like her power trips are like uncalled for. She's being a bully at this point. I don't really like it. Above that, I have Hannah. Hannah is just not likable. I don't know what America sees when they gave her all this money. Because once again, she did get like $75. She was one of the people that got semi-good votes. I don't see it. She has a negative energy. I just don't like her vibe. Above that, we have Azza because Azza, like, she's being another Britney. She would have been lower, but these other two girls just rubbed me more the wrong way. Above that, we have Derek F. He goes up and down. Just some days I like him, some things I just don't like him. This episode, where I kind of liked him, there's just worse people. Xavier is in the middle because, I mean, even though he's a good comp, I like his gameplay. He is the main key for the Cookout Alliance. The next one is going to surprise you. Above Kyland, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In sixth place, I have Kyland.
Okay.
Just because he is, like you said earlier, he is stepping into villain territory. He is only thinking of the Cookout Alliance. He's making this HOH which could potentially work out for him in the long run. To get to the end, he's just sticking with people that really shouldn't be sticking with. Above that, I have Claire. Just because these next few people I really like. Claire is not part of the Cookout Alliance, so she deserves to be higher on my list. Derek X is making good moves. He is smart. He's figuring things out. I just think it's a little too late for him. Second place, I have Alyssa. Even though Alyssa is targeted by Sarah Beth, I feel like there could be a conversation there. They could sit down. If they had a small conversation, just sat down and have a genuine conversation between them two, to figure out that they're not targets for each other and they could work together. And number one is our HOH. Sarah Beth is my favorite, and she's going to stay there for a while too.
Okay. I feel like we kind of have similar lists this time in some ways. So the bottom of my list is Tiffany for sure. Tiffany, I'm just like not vibing with her. She's kind of been in the middle for the longest time for me. But yeah, just the way she was today, I was like kind of ugly. And like, I don't like the way that you think that you can talk to people in a nasty way and expect people to just follow who you are. And yeah, I mean, I get it. She's upset. But at the same time, she was just being nasty. Derek F was trying to just talk to her as a person and just really try to come to like some kind of agreement, and she was just not having it. She was only thinking about herself, and she was really, really aggressive about it, and it was just not cute. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't like it. I'm not a fan. After that, I have Hannah. Hannah's kind of similar to Tiffany. I feel like Hannah is like Tiffany's like daughter at this point in this game, and I feel like Hannah is just like a little bitch for whatever reason she wants to be. And I'm just like, whatever, girl. Like if you have to be a bitch to win this game, like I don't get it. Like you're literally a bitch without a cause. Like that's what I call her. Like she's just, you know what I mean? Like you have people that are mean for reasons, and like, you know, you kind of understand them. But for her, like to just be a bitch for no reason, I'm just like, ew, I do not like you. Like I feel like if I were to ever meet her, she'd just be like a bitch for no reason. I'd be like, oh yeah, that's not gonna fly.
I would not get along with her.
Yeah, it would not fly with me unless she has a reason to be like that. It's not going to fly with me because I literally have not done anything to you, and a lot of these people haven't done anything to her. And I understand that it's a game, but at the same time, it's like you think you're above a lot of these people, and I don't understand it. I don't get it. I don't get you. I don't know. It's weird. After that, I have Azal. Azal, I'm just tired of her crying. I'm tired of her pretending to, well, not pretending, but just being like a crybaby and just being like, I'm just tired of Azal, honestly. Like, she's literally just like Britney. And I'm just so tired of it. Like, I'm not a fan of it. Like, I don't want to be I don't want to see any more of this. Like, I'm not interested in how you are as a player. So sorry,
Okay.
girl, but gotta go. After that, I have Xavier. Um, Similar to Tiffany, I want to say. I don't know. I feel like Xavier and Tiffany are kind of like the core, like I've been saying, like the core of the group of the alliance, and that's all they think about, and they think that they're like invincible for whatever reason. And I'm just like not. I'm not into it. I'm just not into it. After that, I had Derek F. Derek F moved up a little bit just because he did stand up to Tiffany, and you can tell that he's still kind of trying to play. He's not my favorite in any way, shape, or form, but at least he's somehow trying. I mean, who knows? He might be able to. Again, with Derek, if I have like this weird like obsession in a way that I want him to like turn it around and have like that one like comeback story where he was like very weak at the beginning and somehow he turned it around. I feel like he still has a little bit of time to turn it around. Like he might be able to become very savage and very strategic and just say, fuck the cookout, fuck this, fuck that, fuck that. He's kind of already doing that, but very, 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 very slowly. Like he's already kind of saying like fuck Tiffany to a certain extent, fuck us all. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of slowly going into that route, but I don't know if he's gonna have enough time to do it. So I'm conflicted with this person. After that, I have Derek X. I think Derek X is literally just there because he's very strategic. He's a strong player. People see that, and if people don't get rid of him now, he's gonna win, plain and simple. So this is where it gets interesting because we have our top three, right? For the first time ever, Kyland is not my number one. So
It's not
I
the
have
first time
Kyland.
ever.
It is,
You've done it
yeah,
before.
it is. What?
No, you've done it before. You put him in second place and you move Sarah Beth up.
Okay, well, this time he's not in second place. He's in third place.
What
So
happened
he
to
moved down
Claire?
even.
Did you mention Claire?
I did not mention Claire. You're right. Okay, I'm gonna put Claire below Azal. I forget. Dude, this is bad that I forget some of these people because that's how forgettable they are. Like it sounds rude, but some of them aren't forgettable. Like I literally forgot about Claire. Yeah, so Claire is below Azal. Irrelevant. Anyways,
Okay.
so Kyland placed third on my list this time because just the way he was acting, he definitely was acting like a bully. Maybe not a bully, but he was just like stupid. He was literally placing the cookout above anything else, and I was just like, that's not the game that you should be playing though. But if that's the game you want to play, then that's cool. And I think that it kind of just switched it as well when he decided to kind of like turn on Sarah Beth a little bit by being sneaky and not really like following, like just kind of letting her have her like moment, especially because she's kind of been like following his moments whenever he wins. And that was pretty like not cool. So yeah, I'm not impressed by Kylan's moves this week. Yeah, so that's Kylan is third place. And then I have Alyssa as second place because Alyssa is fighting. People don't see it. They think that she's boring, that she's not doing shit. But I feel like she's fighting. I feel like she's doing with what she has. At the end of the day, she's not a comp beast. You know what I mean? She wants to be, but she's not. She did have a strong social game at the beginning of the game, but now that, she's kind of been cornered a little bit, she's just kind of trying to kind of maneuver herself out of that corner. And that's respectable to me. And she's done it before. Like that's like, I think that's what's more important than anything is that Alyssa has been in the spot where she was literally the prime target when French was HOH at that point, because he really wanted to get her out. And then she was able to get out of that. And then she was able to position herself well in the game with Christian and really just kind of just coasting or whatever you want to call it. And then like now she's kind of back at that same spot where she might be a target eventually. And she's just kind of trying to rebuild from that. And I think that in itself is a good game. It's not like she's not doing anything about it. She's trying. And that's all you can do in these kinds of games, especially when you're like not handed the best hand. Like okay, it sucks for her, but she just has to fight a little bit more than anybody else does. And that to me is respectable of her character. She's not giving up. She I mean, just to compare her to Brittany, Alyssa can easily go and cry and be like, "Oh my god, like I'm at the bottom, or I'm at the out, like I'm in the outs, or whatever." Like she can do all that, but she doesn't. She doesn't. She
Right.
just sucks it up. She goes and plays, and she tries to win. She doesn't need pity, and she doesn't need hugs, and she doesn't need reassurance. Like she knows who she is as a person, and like I feel like that's very respectable of her. And I'm sorry, I can go on a whole tangent about her, and like I'll just
I can.
chill out, but. I just think she's a great person, but whatever. And then after that, I have Sarah Beth as number one. I think Sarah Beth one winning HOH is very respectable. Two, the fact that everybody in that house is threatened by her is like, yes, queen. Like that's literally like, if I was an HOH in that house and everybody was scared of me like that, I'd be like, gold. Because everybody is
It's
literally
what you
scared about
want
Sarah
when you
Beth.
become an HOH. You want
Yeah,
everybody to be scared.
and then like, just the way she is, like I do love her vibe. Like I love her vibe, like the way she wears like her little glasses with the little heart, and then she's just like there, just thinking about who she wants to put up, and then she even says like, "Oh, finally I have power," and then it's like, yes,
You know,
that's exactly what you needed,
I see a lot of comments that they hate on her
right?
for the glasses, but I like it. I maybe just because of she's my favorite, but I don't mind it. Like she's not the
What did
first
it?
person that wears shades in the house.
But
It's a
you
good
know
way
what
to
she?
hide your face to see what you're thinking.
I was about to say like you know why she does that, right? Because that's exactly what she's doing. She's hiding her eye contact. You know what I mean? Like the eyes are like they say like the windows to the soul. So like if you hide that, they can't read you. I personally hate when people wear sunglasses around me because I can't read them. So I was in that house and if Sarah Beth was wearing glasses, I'd be like, hey girl, we're not in the sun. Can you take them off? Or I'd be like, this bitch is shady as fuck. Like, why is she wearing sunglasses right now? Which I can understand why. But at the same time, I wouldn't hate on it because I know that that's what she's doing. So I don't know if that's a good
Game
thing for
move.
her, that's a bad thing, but people can catch up on it. You know what I mean? Like people are gonna hate on it. I don't think it's a bad. She's putting a poker face. That's literally what it is. Like if you've ever seen like poker tournaments, literally almost every poker player puts sunglasses on. They're just like there because they don't want to be red, and
Right.
she doesn't want to be red. She's a poker player. So yeah.
All right. Well, for now, we will find out what happens next at the veto competition, which is on Wednesday.
Yep.
So from there, we will see what happens.
Yep. But until then, until next
Until
time.
next time.